Righto, everyone. Well, welcome to episode 22 of the Lucky Dogs podcast. And this episode, we're recapping the Melbourne Grand Prix, F1, and what a weekend it was. I think one of the dogs is pretty pumped up, pumping his chest out, and one, I think, might have his tails between his legs, and I'm sure you can pick which one's which right now. But yeah, it's cool to obviously be back with the episode. But Brodie, what do you reckon? Big weekend.
First of all, before we get stuck into, we just want to thank everyone for all your great feedback on Ryan Walkinshaw's episode. That was obviously great to unpack his whole life and his way, I guess, back to the top of, motorsport here in Australia and also, back in business as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. But yeah, great weekend of racing. As always, it's always great to be racing, but exceptionally great for myself. But it was a long week, wasn't it? We got there on the Tuesday. A lot of our sponsors, I guess, would have headquarters based in Melbourne. And we got to meet some pretty cool people. I got to actually meet Lewis again for the second time and spend about 45 minutes to an hour with him doing some filming with Rylan, which was really cool. So I was a bit unsure how those deals are going to go. I guess sometimes, because I know how we are sometimes with, you do back-to-back appearances and sometimes your social battery sort of runs out. But yeah, he was exceptionally great to meet. Had a lot of fun with everyone at Shell and gave a lot of insight, I guess, into his career and how it's changed and how he goes about his racing now, which is really cool. So actually learned a lot from I guess my time with him, and Rylan would have as well. So that was actually really cool, and I'm glad that Shell could, I guess, hook that up and get us together.
Yeah, that was really cool. Hey, when you told me you get to hang out with him for that long, I was like, oh, I was fairly jealous there. But like you say, it is pretty big because they're scheduled down to the minute. A lot of people can hardly get any time with the F1 guys. So that was awesome for you guys. I did some cool things as well. But like you say, it's a massive week. I flew in there Tuesday morning and you leave Monday, so it's nearly 7 days the event. So a lot of PR, and feels like not a lot of racing at certain times over the weekend. But yeah, on the flew in on the Tuesday and had a fair few appearances, just going to different places for sponsors, as you say. But Wednesday was my cool day. I got to roll in and they were called DD drift carts, which they're little go-karts with PVC pipes on the rear. And we actually went up on top of the Crown Casino where the car park was, and they had a track set out. So it was myself, Isaac Hadjar, and Fisher that went up there and competed in a little race to see who was the best drifter in the karts. But it was
And
cool.
Liam Lawson.
I did say Liam, didn't I, or did I not? Oh, bugger. Well, Liam Lawson was also there, which was cool. So two F1 drivers, Fisher and myself, and yeah, so that was really cool. It was just a fun way to start the week, and Fisher is he's a legend. I liked hanging out with the F1 boys. They were good fellas, but Fisher just makes everything a lot of fun when he's around. He just, that smile and the laugh, God, it was funny. But we need to get him some training in some cars or some karts or something. I think he was having a lot of fun though. But yeah, did that. Liam ended up beating me in the drifting, so I got a bit of work to do. It was me and him in the finals. But yeah, had a lot of fun doing that on the Wednesday and meeting some of the F1 guys. I would have loved to meet Max, but we just didn't get the time or the opportunity there. But yeah, it was pretty funny actually when we went into to do the drift karting, because I rolled up at they said be there at 9:15. I rolled up at 8:50, just thought I'll be there on time and get a coffee. And I forgot my helmet. So my one, I guess, mind, he nearly said, like James that looked after me, he went back to get my helmet from the hotel. And before even Liam or Isaac rolled up, there was 20 Oracle, people PR managers and all that roll up in their full outfit, to look after those guys. And then Fisher rolled in with his crew as well, and there's me just standing there by myself, like, "Hey guys, how you going?" that, that was good, but yeah, cool to obviously do a little bit with them. It's a big week for us from a content point of view as well. I think you would have noticed that as well. Like the social media following over the weekend was crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely what you touched on there too, like even meeting Lewis. I think there was 9 people with him from Ferrari.
Oh, right.
So yeah, there was a lot of people around, and they were very, picky about certain things like food and water and all that sort of stuff. So they really like try and look after, I guess, their drivers pretty well because I guess they do so many of those appearances and they race and travel so much. So that was pretty interesting to see. But yeah, from a social media fan point and from a point as well, I couldn't believe how many people were there. Like on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was just like crazy out of this world. And it wasn't just even our area too, it was everywhere because we had to go across like walk across under the bridge and under the track, sorry. And there was just people everywhere. You'd have to agree, right? It was
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. To be honest, I it's actually probably the best thing that happened to us at the time we didn't think, but was us moving supercars to the outside of the track and not having a pit lane because we used to go to this event, you'd be in there, they wouldn't allow fans in where our pit lane was or anything like that. And I remember this event being quite boring because you didn't have that atmosphere of all the fans being in there. We would just sit in our pits and not see anyone. And now you literally walk out of your garage like it's hard because of the way the setup is between the trailers and the garage to actually get between them because there's so many fans that want photos and that. But it just makes the weekend so great. You can see all the passionate fans there. Like you say, you look left and right and you couldn't see any grass or any ground. There was just people everywhere. So I think I think it's actually been a blessing in disguise not having the pit lane and more being out the side and having sort of a V8 supercars area. But a couple of things that I did notice over the weekend from a social media point of view is that Alex Albon actually said he was a fan of Brock. So that would have pumped Brock's tires up going into the weekend. I gotta ask him about that because I didn't speak to him about it. And he was gutted about what happened at Adelaide last year. So that's pretty cool to see that Alex Albon is actually watching supercars that closely to see what all went down on that side of things. Um, and we actually saw that Max Verstappen liked a few of the R-Bar posts over the weekend. So a few little bits and pieces with the F1 drivers there.
What's our bar?
Red Bull and Pole Racing.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, so we're all over that. But I guess one thing we'll get into, a bit of controversy heading into the weekend was
And I'm not part of it.
well, that's a first. That's a first. So no, obviously, with the Apex Hunters stuff coming out, is that Jamie went on there and said a few things about Walkinshaw, obviously to do with their chassis, how the welding was done and whether that was illegal or illegal. Also a bit of stuff about their engines. So to be honest, I'm actually keen to listen to that episode. I think it's fantastic that he did it. I think the best thing is more people talking out, the more content we get, the more engagement fans have to actually see this side of it. And I think it's also really building that rivalry between Walkinshaw and Triple Eight that is real. But yeah, I've loved watching all that stuff and reading some of the comments about what was said after it. But it was an interesting one with the chassis because I hadn't tracked that closely, to be honest. I'm not super technical on that side. So Jamie definitely dropped some bombs, that's for sure, in that episode.
Yeah, which is actually kind of a bit interesting because I don't think that's really his character. Like, I don't know, like I've never known him to go out like that. Normally, like with anything controversial, he's really deflective and just focus on ourselves and everything like that. But yeah, it was actually good to see some of the passion coming out from him, I think. And I think we need to see more of it, which is good. I think some of his facts were obviously a little bit off over the welding thing, and it was regarding a 2023 thing. But nonetheless, it's still good to see people speaking their minds, and it's what like people see real. They don't like bull crap or like fluff. They like seeing real conversations and real, like it's not made up drama. It's actually real. And now the rivalry between Walkinshaw and Triple Eight is real, which we'll go into later. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's cool, and I think it needs to happen a bit more, which would be great. I think everyone's trying to stay really friendly with each other and all that sort of stuff, which is good. But I think we still need the rivalries as well, and that's really what made the racing back in the early 2000s and late 90s.
I don't think I've seen this, amount of sort of controversy and all that as much and hard racing and everything in supercars since I've been in it or even before when I was following it. Like I think it died out a little bit maybe after like 2012, 13. Everyone went quite, sort of soft, I think, like, wouldn't speak their mind, didn't want to get slammed in social media and in all that by the fans. And I feel like there's been a change over like the last 6 to 12 months with the final system and everything. And people are starting to be a bit looser and say what they think. And I think it's been great. Like, Ryan coming on this podcast and being so open about his whole story, what happened last year and all of that, I think was something that was fantastic for the sport as well. And hopefully, Jamie doing that, and hopefully in the future we can get more people on that'll actually share like that. But I guess getting into a bit more of the weekend is, we thought we might touch a little bit on for everyone to hear about the racing standards and final system and all how that works. And to be honest, maybe I'm not the one to comment on racing standards right now because I think I've had a few hits lately and all that. But I think, I don't know, I think you'd agree on it, Brodie, but it's quite crazy out there right now. You have any car around you within a certain distance, and yes, some people race you different, but you're gonna get hit or nearly do the hitting. Like it seems like back in the day, if I go back to 2022, 2021, when we got into the sport, if you make contact with another car, you would generally always end up in a bit of a hearing or talking about it, or there was a process like, why did you make contact with the car? Was it avoidable contact? Now, how many times do people run into each other just all the time, and it's just look the other way, which is, I know we've gone to that system and I think it's great, because it creates such good racing and all that, but yeah, it's just the driving standards is out of control out there right now, I reckon.
Yeah, I guess I've been a pretty big advocate, I guess, since the start of it's pretty confusing the rules still to this point. We do. I think it's good we've opened up the rules. I think we need to continue that, but open them probably in a different way. Like, for example, I was, y- I guess we can go back to Sydney quickly, and I got a 5-second penalty for rubbing Zach's rear bar, and I admitted that was my fault, and pushed him out the way. But at the same time, as long as my car is half a car ahead of someone else's, I can literally just run them out of road. As long as there's no wall there. If there's a wall and they go crash into the wall, well then I'm going to get a penalty. But if there's no wall and they run off the road and lose 2 spots, then there's no penalty. It seems so. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit confusing. I think probably it can be better, but I think it's better than what it was, and I think you'd have to probably agree with that. As far as it's way more entertaining. I actually enjoy the racing more than what I used to. The racing before used to be really, really vanilla, which was, you know, not good. But yeah, I think there's a few things. One of the things is now we have the new final system, which has taken away 4 rounds. So everyone's now everyone sees it as a 10-race championship before the next championship starts. So everyone seems to be more in a rush, and we saw that with the 4-race format on the weekend, where you take away a couple of laps, which is like the last race on the Sunday, and all of a sudden everyone's mindset changes. Or like if someone hears time certain, if someone hears, oh, the race is going to be time certain, we're going to lose a couple of laps, everyone just goes absolutely bonkers. Like on restarts, everyone's bombing each other, running people out of road. Like everyone's in a rush, and I can see why, because everyone wants to get good results, but it's just the snowball effect of how everything goes. So yeah, but yeah, we can get stuck into that. We'll
Yeah.
get stuck into Thursday. Thursday was the busiest day I've had in a race car, which is awesome because I didn't take my suit off the whole time. But I thought we should talk about this because normally we have a lot of time between sessions to analyze where we are, where we're at. And we had about an hour and 20 minutes average between each session. So we unloaded pretty good and we had small changes to make, but maybe talk us through how you guys like unloaded and how do you know, like, where did you guys think you were after practice 1 and practice 2? And then there's only like an hour basically between sessions, to make changes. So how did your weekend go as far as, dealing with that?
Yeah, like you say, it's pretty wild. It's always great when you roll out, strong because you're just making small changes and, it's quite easy. It's a spring or whatever. And you can make that decision fairly fast. But like you say, an hour and 20 between sessions. By the time you get back in park, walk down to your truck, get out of your suit and get into the trailer, there's not a lot of time left to actually then you've got to debrief with the team and your engineer on what you thought was right or wrong in that session to come up with a plan on how you're going to move forward and, how you're going to get a better setup for the next one. But you got to get those changes to the mechanics pretty quickly to make sure that they can do the changes, get the fuel back in the car and get it back out on track. So you have to be pretty quick on your feet that day and pretty fast on your decisions on what changes you want to make. So it is a bit hard because it's different to usual. Usually we have 2-3 hours or more that you sort of go back, sit down, sort of relax, calm down, and think over your decisions a lot quicker. Take a lot longer on them. But yeah, it was an interesting day. We probably didn't roll like I thought we were better than we were. And if I went back to practice 1 and 2, I was quietly confident on our used tire reruns that we were not too bad. But then we went into qualifying and didn't really get the results that we wanted. So, I think we did a good job over the day on trying to get to where we needed to be. But yeah, qualifying, just didn't end up being really good. But it was a hectic day, that's for sure. Just trying to run through all the schedules and that. You pretty much did 2 practices, by 11 or 12 o'clock, and then into the 2 qualifying sessions. So I think for myself in qualifying, I qualified 12th in the first one and 10th in the second one. So I was pretty disappointed on those results, to be honest, because you guys probably know I've been putting in a lot of work to try and get better results and better qualifying results. So, I felt pretty average to get them, but I thought I could probably race from there if I had a good car and could manage it in the race. But yeah, I don't know. Like qualifying was interesting. Like you had kind of different people up there. Like Golding did another really good job straight away. He was up in second. Aaron Cameron was up there again. It was an interesting qualifying, but yeah, I just didn't have the pace that I wanted to have, which is, it's probably around where we've qualified lately.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was interesting. Like I guess the first day, the Thursday, we rolled out, and did you notice how dirty the track was in practice one this year? It was like the best way to describe it is watching like a movie of a helicopter trying to land it in the desert and sand flying absolutely everywhere. Was probably like it was like it was crazy. So yeah, and what I'm going to get to in a minute is obviously Ojeda had a crash in practice too, but if you went like 1 millimeter offline off the racing line, it was like it was wet. So what was your mindset going into, I guess, going through the practices? Because I felt like I was driving around like 90% in the practices, trying to just focus on making the car a little bit better and not pushing too much. I knew, you kind of always know what you have to do when you get to quali, but there was a lot of spots, I guess where Ojeda crashed. I think it was turn 7 or 6, I believe, and or maybe even turn 5. Sorry, and through there was like really sketchy, and there's like all these, the risk versus reward going into those sort of tracks, because at the end of the day, the AusGP, the Melbourne Grand Prix is a street circuit. So it's not a permanent circuit. It's a road or it's a push bike, around the Albert Park there, or, whatever it is. And I don't know. What was your mindset, I guess, going through the practices and into the quali?
Well, we walked the track and I thought it was dirty, but I didn't realize how dirty it was till we rolled out. And like you say, it was just bloody dust flying everywhere and dirty, and it was just slippery as. It was probably the track got better and better throughout the weekend as we saw, but it was so slippery offline. And I think not only Ojeda's crash, but a lot of crashes that happen later in the weekend that we will get to actually happen due to people trying to pass the cars offline, the car ahead of them. And it was so slippery offline compared to the online that you'd actually lose the rear or whatnot. And I think, some of that is like what happened, with Randall and Woody, when he tipped him in. It's so slippery and it just catches you out, as the dirt stays on your tires for a while or whatever, like sand. And it can be a fair few corners later that you're still noticing that you've lost grip due to going offline. So it's not just something that wears off the tires straight away within 20 meters and you're fine. It takes time to actually build that grip back. But the Ojeda one, my mindset for Thursday, and I think most drivers, and it doesn't mean you drive slower, you're just cautious of it, is that if you crash with that shorter turnaround, no matter what, nearly you're not making the next session. Like it has to be a very small crash for you to make the next session. So a lot of the times around there, turn 5, where Jada stuck it in, it's going to be fairly big. Um, so yeah, I think he crashed in practice 2 and didn't
Yep.
make it out for either of the qualifyings and just made it out for the race. So, for any of us that were, well, probably for you guys actually that were further up in the championship, you have a crash, or anyone out there right now, I guess second round, you have a crash and you're not making 2 qualifying sessions, which really hurts your whole weekend. You're starting last for 2 races. So yeah, it's interesting mindset. It definitely changes it a little bit. You're not just going out there and going, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll get it rebuilt for qualifying the next day." You have to think about it the whole time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get stuck in the quali, which you've already touched on a bit, but I had my first pole of the year, which was
Oh,
really cool. And yeah, I guess I've been sort of a bit quietly confident about like how the car's been a little bit this season, but we haven't executed. So it was really good to get my first pole of the year, but I vomited in my helmet when I did it. So it wasn't pretty. I actually vomited twice on my lap and had to swallow it. And I was disgusting. So and then when I crossed the finish line, I was vomiting everywhere because I obviously the adrenaline sort of wears off a bit after you've done your lap, and I just vomited absolutely. It was disgusting, and so I had to rush and get out of the car, and there was just vomit everywhere in the car, all over me, in my helmet, and so I had to uh, clean everything off, clean the inside of my helmet, wear the same balaclava again. Someone's vomited again when I put the same balaclava on. And then go back out there and do it all again for the race 5 quali, which was the second
oh,
quali.
that is disgusting. I cannot even imagine that, to be honest. Like, respect to actually spew on your lap and still get pole. That is pretty amazing. So, respect there. But to put that helmet back on a balaclava and go back out and qualify second, I couldn't. If somebody spews or I smell spew, I'm terrible. I would have been put off for sure. But I guess it shows the dedication. Like, all the drivers, I'm sure, are very similar. Would just keep going even if you're sick. You're not going to pull out. But oh, that's far out. I couldn't have handled that.
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, really good first quali. Stick it on pole. Really tight margins between James and myself, and I already mentioned BRT backing it up again for a second weekend with good quali pace, which was I guess pretty cool to see. And race 5, I qualified second, which was great as well. To be consistent as well. Matt pipped me on that one and started on pole by 300s or something. So, and something that was very surprising was the 2 Toyotas, Woody and Chaz, being third and fourth
Yeah.
in qualifying. So, obviously, after all the controversy with, I guess, Jamie saying about the engines and not being dynoed and stuff, and then to be third and fourth, and come out and do a pretty good job there. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that. I didn't notice it until I got back into the pits later and looked at it, and I thought, "Oh, that is, it's pretty impressive." I think it's good for them. It'll give them a bit more confidence. I think if they came in and had a really tough weekend this weekend, it would have been interesting, but gives them a bit of confidence probably that they're getting there on the setup. Maybe they've still got a bit of work to do on the engine and all that side of it, but at least you're building a fairly good package to be second and only like a tenth and a half off pole around such a long circuit. Um, they're obviously pretty quick. I just want to go back. What do you do with that helmet now? Did you just surely you had to buy all new inners for it? You're not just wearing it again, are you?
No, I cleaned it all out well. Like I stripped the interior and cleaned it all out.
I'd I I'd hang it up or get full new interiors.
Why? It's good luck.
Yeah, yeah, we'll put it.
It
Well,
doesn't smell or anything. It's all been properly cleaned.
yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's all look, you just worry about qualifying better and I'll worry about my helmet.
It was,
So, but I guess one of the talking points from the second quali on the Thursday was Ryland, so the second shell car got disqualified, and that was due to a piece of tape being on the air temp compensation sensor. So those sensors got added, I believe, before New Zealand last year, which was after this round, when the Ford had a pretty big disadvantage following another car. When the airbox temp come up, they'd lose a lot of power compared to the Camaro. So that sensor's obviously got to be mounted, the mount for that sensor into the airbox, and they're sealed. So the boys were mounting that in there, and it's got to be glued into the airbox with some form of epoxy. So they had some tape around the sensor to protect it, like some masking tape, and the masking tape was still left on there, unfortunately. So it's a bit of an oversight, and so that car got disqualified. So bit unfortunate. He didn't have too good of a two quali sessions rolling because he had a clutch issue as well, just a clutch part failure, which was pretty interesting. He had a bit of a rough start to his weekend, the young fella. He dug deep and stayed out of trouble, which was good.
How did they find that? I guess for people at home, that's not a check they do all the time, is it? Like, how'd they find that was wrong on his car?
I'm actually not too sure, to be honest. I'd say they'd just be going around and doing sanity checks on certain things and just making sure everyone's following the rules. I definitely, since they've had a boost in staff as of late, like the technical team at Supercars do a lot better job of making sure the cars are compliant, which I think is great. And so I think they've just been going around and checking everyone's cars and making sure that they're all compliant. So you can't really knock them for doing their job. It's the way it should be.
Yeah, 100%. Just generally, like a lot of the time, the checks seem to be the guys up the front. They'll check the top 5 usually, where obviously Ryland wasn't in it. So always makes me a bit curious how they found that. But yeah, it makes sense. Like you say, they are checking more things now. I think they need to be honest. Like when I went over to TCR, they checked so much stuff, like pulling your dampers apart and that, and making sure. I guess all of ours is tagged. Maybe I'm not sure how it works over in TCR, but good that they're checking it all and cracking down on it a bit. But that was, I guess, a bit disappointing for the team as well for you guys. But race 4, that leads us into race 4, the Thursday afternoon, straight into a race. Only, I guess it's a bit weird, to be honest. It's weird to roll up practice, quali, then race, all in the first day, and for it to be so late. But big one for you. You got the win.
I did. First win for Lucky Dogs. Actually, since we've started the podcast, Ains, am I the only person to get wins since we started the podcast? When was your last win, Will?
I think maybe actually when was my last? I don't even want to look up my last race win. Actually, let's just leave that in the Don't look it up, Baines. I can see you typing.
Yeah, so I had a really good start. I had a 3-3 start, which is my fastest ever. Yeah, so for anyone, so we do our start times from 0 to 100. And I got a 3-3. So normally on average, it's like 3-5 to 3-6 or 3-5 to 3-7, depending on the track and how good the surface is. But yeah, I got a 3-3. So I couldn't believe I saw my mirrors and there was like no one close in proximity. But it was a pretty chaotic start, it looks like. There was a little bit of contact with a few things behind. You want to talk us through some of that, Will?
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact. I see Kai got, oh great, John Mum. I see Kai actually got turned around at the start, and he was that fast. Those Penrite cars were, I don't know what happened in qualifying. I can't talk and say he had such a fast car and didn't qualify where he should have, because I'm sure I've done that a lot of times. But yeah, like he was so fast. He got turned around and he came back to 11th. But my race actually wasn't too bad, to be honest. I was sort of cruising around, was getting back up to a decent spot, and I got up to 7th, and Chaz and Cam were just, I don't know, I thought Cam had the pace to lunge Chaz, to be honest. Like he was so close on him in so many braking markers, and Chaz wasn't really blocking. He was just doing a good enough job of braking late enough that it was making Cam nervous to actually try and make the move. So they sort of ran each other wide at turn 4, and I tried showing the nose on Cam at turn 5. And it was an interesting one because, I think this goes back to the dirt on the track, because I sort of showed the nose there and then went, actually, I probably can't get it done here, so I got to back out. But straight when I broke, I just locked rears really bad and just was sliding for the fence. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going in. Like, I spoke to Woody after, and he's like, "Mate, I thought you were going to have the world's biggest shunt," and somehow it stopped sliding, but it was just like my grip reduced by 50% or something offline, and Cam after it was like, "What are you doing, mate? Like, dude, I thought you were going to take us both out," but I didn't actually plan on it. The track just got so so loose out there and dirty. But Cam said I'm a terrible Uber driver because of it. But yeah, that was interesting. I was a bit disappointed because I started 12th. I thought, yep, I'm going to be 6th, and then Woody got me when that happened because I nearly hit the fence. He got a run on me, and I felt like a slide for the fence. He got a run on me, and I came 8th. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like we generally always move forward, which is a good thing in the race. Like, you know, to get from 12th up to 8th, but felt like we had a car that could be a little bit better than that, maybe.
Yeah, I did see you guys really struggled, I guess, that race, and looked like it was like watching when I went back and watched the replay. It looked like you guys were driving shopping trolleys under brakes, which
Next
was
race was worse. Don't worry. Race 5 was a lot worse.
yeah. And I saw that you had you were racing Aaron Cameron for in race 4 for a little bit as well, and you got close to the back of him, and he spun in that race.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a weird one. Like you know this, and we've spoken about it, but you know probably the fans don't see it. But it's an interesting one that a lot of the drivers are talking about. That when you get close behind another Ford, if you're in a Camaro, Toyota, or even a Ford, and you get close to another Ford, like really tight behind them, it seems to take aero away from their car and actually lose the rear. And we've seen this more and more. But I just broke right under his rear bar, and I don't know if it affects it under braking. It definitely does on exits and that, but I just broke under his rear bar and he just lost the rear. And on TV, it looked like I took him out. Like it just looked like I punted him off, but I never hit him. He
I
just
wouldn't be
kept,
surprised.
yeah, yeah. I think that's what everyone said in the comments. But yeah, he just like kept going. I'm like, oh, he's just going to run past the corner. And then I looked in my mirror and he spun, and I was like, far out. But I think that there's a little bit of that aero stuff that I broke so close to him and he just lost the rear. But yeah, I didn't actually hit him, but it definitely looked like I did. But I picked up a spot there and yeah, moved my way back up to that fight with Cam. But overall, 8, wasn't happy with it. Obviously, I think we're better than that. But it's all we could get in that race, really.
Yeah, definitely what you were saying. I was, Matt finished really closely behind me in that race, and I thought Matt had the better car by a lot. Because I thought to myself, he's in dirty air and vice versa, and he was able to stay pretty close to me. And yeah, I was a bit worried because obviously he was starting on pole for the next one, but when he was behind me, I didn't know this till the next race, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, it actually affects the car a lot, and I think it's even up to like 0.7 of a second. It actually affects it like actually affects you out front. So it's actually pretty crazy that now it's almost better to follow than it's to lead, which um, I guess you're the last person to come from a Camaro, because when I came from the Camaro, when you weren't having such a good day and your car wasn't so good, you could sort of back up a little bit and control your pace a bit. And I don't think that car was as affected as much as the Ford, whereas the Ford, you almost just have to like do qualifying laps because you can't allow anyone to get close to you. Because if someone gets close to you, you're literally just griefing yourself.
Yeah. It is crazy how much it affects it. Like, I think going back to Sydney, I remember I was talking to you after Rylan hit me down at the hairpin and pushed me wide, and he got hit by a few other cars, but I thought it was him. So I went to just do a little nudge on him at turn 5. And like when I got close, I didn't even nudge him. He just like spun, like, and he didn't spin, but he just went completely off track and just lost the rear. And I was like, what happened there? But it just takes all your rear downforce away or something. And you can feel it. Like coming onto the straight one lap, I think Randall or someone at Grand Prix got under me in that last corner a little bit, and I'm just like sliding onto the straight. So it's weird how that works. But yeah, it seems pretty affected. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, life's not so easy anymore, is it?
Uh, no, it wasn't easy last year either, to be honest. You guys just love whinging, don't you? Um,
I would say you're a good bloke, but speaking about good blokes and good people, we're going to go into our ad segment of people that support this podcast. So one of those is the Lancaster Motor Group, is your go-to destination for a brand new or pre-owned vehicle. Or expert servicing and parts they deliver across multiple brands. So get into your guys at Lancaster and tell them that Lucky Dogs sent you and get your Lucky Dogs merch pack. And You'll also go into the draw to win a hot lap with either Will or myself if you're going to get your car serviced or buy a new or used car. So make sure you go check them out at lancastermotors.com.au. They're great people. They've been around us pretty much for our whole, I guess, main game careers. And it's always good to, be surrounded with good people.
Yeah, definitely. There are a bunch of legends down there, that's for sure. But our other sponsor is Wheel Pros Australia, which is has been with me for a long time now, KMC Wheels. I think they're my longest sponsor ever, but they have a lot of great brands like Fuel Off-Road, KMC, Rotiform, and American Racing. So they pretty much have a wheel for any car you have. If it's sports, off-road, just a general everyday driver, the team will be able to help you out there, and they're always super friendly. So make sure if you need any information, hit them up. I actually personally just put a set of Crux KMC wheels on my Raptor, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So visit wheelpros.com.au today and find the perfect fit for your car.
Hey, you're not wrong, mate. I've never seen a little guy in a big car look so good.
Can you cut that out, Ainsley, please? Oh, that was good. But no, definitely. So thanks to all those guys that are supporting us. We'll get on with it now. Thanks, Brodie. But no,
speaking of getting onto it, everyone did start to get on with it because race 5, I feel like this is where the can of worms really started to crack open.
Oh.
So do you remember Batesy and Jones lap 1?
Yeah, poor old, well, I kind of have a fair idea of what happened, but poor old Batesy had a tough old weekend with lap 1 incidents. But where did he get? What happened there, actually?
I think they just got together. I think old Batesy was looking very aggressive with his car movements across the weekend, so he got involved with a few unfortunate lap 1 incidents. But it's just like one of those things. You got to know the people you're sort of racing, and I think like the further you get down, the more desperate people are. Obviously, that's just how it works. So I think it was just like an unfortunate racing incident, but yeah, unfortunately, he got caught up with a lot of them, and where we had to park the road car, which was close to the trucks where we drive in and park, where we drive in the morning. God, there was a pile of parts there that had Bendix on them, and there was a big pile. So Batesy was in a fair bit of kerfuffle across the weekend, poor fella. But you got a bit busy that race too, didn't you, Will?
Yeah, I got a little bit busy in that race. This race was wild, to be honest. I've never been to so many stewards hearings after in my life. But I think it was lap 1 on Cooper, which I did feel bad about. I definitely didn't mean to do it in any way, but the day before, I think if you watch the footage back, I actually threw the same move on Anton and got it done. And I was like, even if he blocks, I'm just going to put it down the inside and I'll be fine. But I sort of Cooper blocked and I went down the inside, and I just getting towards the end, I just felt the rears lock in. I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. So I just locked the rears. I was trying to release it and not hit him, but obviously I did. So I just backed it into his door and pushed him off into the gravel. I think he got through the gravel. He didn't get stuck in the gravel, which I was glad about, but I think he did have to pit. So kind of ruined his race, unfortunately, which, sorry to Cooper. But yeah, I sort of ruined my own race there as well, because I got a little bit of damage out of it, like the rear toe was out and that sort of thing. And then I went back to, I think I was in 8th or 7th. Then I was passing to 7th and it put me back to 15th. So yeah, it was a bit annoying. It was just, I think I got, you just get quietly confident the day before. I'm like, oh God, look at that move I threw. I can throw that again. And yeah, it just didn't work out. So yeah, disappointed in myself, because it's sort of, like you say, you do get, I don't know. I think this is where the mentality's got to change, because we're talking about finals. And I think I came into this year thinking, I want to try and win races to get ready for the end of the year, that where you need to win races and be aggressive. And I don't know, like, I say I've had bad luck already this year, but you do create your own luck as well. So you got to put your car in positions that you're not going to have this sort of problem. And maybe other years I would have waited and just take a better result, like, a better overall result. But I thought, yeah, I'll try and get him early and then pass some more cars and be aggressive. And it ended up in a crash. So I think maybe for me, my mindset's probably going to change a little bit going into the next couple of rounds with where I am in the position. in the championship and all of that. But yeah, definitely not a deliberate thing. It was just a big move and didn't come off, which we're all definitely have done in our career at some point, I'm sure. But yeah,
Never.
things you never
No.
have. I remember Perth
Nah.
3, 22.
No. No, that wasn't my fault though.
Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, I had bad brake bias or something. Mate,
Yeah, I
you broke
was.
like 50 meters late.
No, I didn't.
And didn't you? Who'd you poleaxe? Was it Jake or Jake?
It was Jake and someone else.
Oh, that was funny as. But yeah, I guess yeah, everyone did go crazy in this race, and like I say, I did as well. But Golding had some car issues or something like that. Ains?
Yeah, well, he actually qualified. Where did he qualified for race 5 quali? He was down the back because he had a bad quali. So I'm assuming he got caught up in some stuff. I saw on his socials that he had a bit of a wobble somewhere on his lap because he obviously qualified quite well for the first one. So yeah, he was sort of down towards the back there and must have had maybe some wheel to wheel contact, but they pitted, which was a bit unfortunate. But that was a bit like BRT's whole weekend, to be honest. They qualified pretty well and were involved in a lot of incidents, it seemed, hey?
Yeah, yeah, they were. They were definitely involved in a few. I think poor old Aaron. I don't think he finished like he finished races, but I don't think up the front after qualifying really well all weekend. So I think they got pace. Obviously, we sort of align with them with our currently how we're doing it with our customer support. So we give them setups and then they're doing a great job. Like their qualifyings have been so fast. But yeah, I guess they'll definitely, like myself, be wanting to bank some points and get some more results on the board. But yeah, another one I saw during that was Brock versus Chaz, and I thought, oh, this is getting a bit spicy after all the stuff, but that it looked like when Brock went down the inside of him, he actually Chaz sort of moved under brakes, I think, a little bit. Like Chaz races hard, and then Brock sort of looked like he fed him one, and it bent. Did it bend Chaz's steering?
That's what they were saying on the broadcast. They were saying it Benny's steering pretty bad, but yeah, it was pretty interesting because obviously they made a little bit of contact in the braking zone, and I don't know if the wheel-to-wheel contact between Brock and Chaz before they got to the apex, like took the wheel out of Brock's hands, but it looked like Brock opened the wheel up on the exit and like was on a 45-degree angle and pushed Chaz off the road. So yeah, but that's one of those things where you don't really know unless you see the onboard, which is, you need the onboard. So like you're the only one that'll be able to go look, go look at that later on when you go back to the workshop. But yeah, I feel like it is the start because I feel like the Walkinshaw guys race you guys a little bit differently than they do everyone else because when I go back and watch, Chaz let a lot of cars through, except for when it was blue and had white nostrils on it.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, we definitely noticed this on the weekend, and I noticed it in the next race majorly. That's for sure. But I reckon there's been a word down there. Those guys aren't happy after obviously the stuff that was said about their chassis and all that, and they definitely raced us differently on the weekend. Like I think Adelaide was an anomaly to try and, for the championship and, whatever happened there happened. I don't think so much they were trying to just be idiots, but yeah, this weekend it was crazy. Like I got near Chaz and he was hard work and then he just let Kai past. So that was that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I think during the race as well, not only Chaz, but Brock was coming through. I was watching the replay. Brock was coming through, and it was weird because we've kind of got that alliance with BRT, and no one's friends out there. But I saw Brock lunge Aaron Cameron and sort of locked rears and hit his door, and I was like, "Oh, that was pretty aggressive." And I think Brock he tried to
Readdressing.
readdress. So which is what we do. Like if we make a pass, doesn't work out. We've kind of been told that if you just back out, readdress, you won't be a penalty unless that car loses another position. So Brock tried to readdress, but Aaron just drove across and just absolutely doored him. Like it looked like he got angry in the car, to be honest. That's what you'd do if you got angry and just hit hit Brock. But I don't think he knew Kai was coming from behind. And Kai sort of showed the nose, and then it just all friggin' within the matter of like 2 corners, they were all running into each other. And then Aaron was in the fence, unfortunately, again. And Kai had spun around and yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, I did watch that back, and that's really interesting because do you remember the whole thing about Zach Bates at Ipswich about swerving down the straight.
Yeah.
There was a big deal about that. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I think Aaron did it in a good enough way that it could have been just, "Oh, I didn't know he was there," or but it looked pretty
Well,
blatant.
to be honest, with what he did to Kai, maybe he had no idea he was there because, yeah, I got to give Aaron credit. He's doing a great job in qualifying stuff, but his race awareness is going to get a fair bit better. Seems to come off on a lot of incidents there. So yeah, not many. It's really hard to come into the championship and qualify up the front. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, like doing a lap and doing it under pressure. So for him to be able to do that is amazing and kudos to him. But yeah, the racing, if he can sort that out, they'll start having some really good results.
Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, I did find that pretty interesting. But
Yeah, you
so
need
then
that.
after you turned your thing into a shopping trolley, you decided to be, and you had a 15-second penalty. So what was going through your mind there? Were you having short man syndrome or what was going on?
Oh god, I don't know. I did watch the broadcast back, and Garth or someone was getting into me, and I thought, and you hear someone, going, "Oh, he's an idiot," and that, and you want to get angry, but you're like, you know what? He's probably right. Actually, like you got to think. You're like, you know what? He's probably on something. But yeah, so I had a bit of damage, and then this was a bad race for us in general, I guess, for Red Bull Ampol. Brock, we both burnt the rears off. So what we're worried about for at home is that when we're out on track, we're worried about blistering around this circuit. It's so high load and so high speed that you can really blister your tires. And we didn't really expect to get it this year with the new tires, and we didn't get it much last year. But in this race, it must have been our setup, or there wasn't as many pro safety cars. It was more green running, but we started to get a lot of delaminating and blistering, which is something that we saw down the field, and you lose 3 seconds. So Brock dropped from third to sixth, which was pretty average for us, and I just started going backwards. But I had the 15-second penalty, so I look back. I probably just should have let him go, but I think someone bumped me or something, and I was just in that mood, like, nah, I'm not letting them go. Then you're gonna bump me, so I just started white lining it, and I did think someone's going to get rid of me here, so I probably should stop, and I probably would have got rid of me sooner, to be honest. But Cam Hill ended up tossing me out at the last corner, which I was like, fair game. I don't blame you at all. But yeah, when I look back, it's probably one of those things. I probably should have been smarter and got a 15-second time penalty. Let's slowly let these guys go, and I'll just try to get a result. But to be honest, I don't think it changed my 15 seconds around there with how short the races were. I was 21st or second anyway, and the other cars the other cars were out of the race. So wouldn't have changed my result so much. Like Garth was saying, that it would have changed my result. It wouldn't have, but it would have been a lot harder on me. So yeah, it was an interesting one, but the battles were great. I had a really good time doing it. I got about 4 laps of just shopping trolley, just causing chaos behind me, and then I ended up beating the chaos. So that's life. But yeah, I definitely think now I'd probably change. Looking back at it, I'd probably change the way I went about that race.
Yeah, well, my race was, I had no idea that was going on behind me because obviously Matt got the start and drove away like a second. And I think I knew like on lap two, my car was feeling really good behind him. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to let the tire pressures come in a bit. And I could see him up ahead and I was, just pacing myself and he was not driving away. So I thought I was in a pretty good spot. And then we got to like lap 3 or 4 coming in and he had like 1 or 2 wobbles and my car felt awesome. So I drove straight up the back of him and yeah, caught him like a second in literally, I want to say like a lap or so. And yeah, got up to him. My car was so good through the high speed sections, like the flip flops and stuff. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, got right behind him up there and put a move on him into 11 and just controlled the pace from there and yeah, got the win. But yeah, it was actually pretty cool to see Woody on the podium too. First one for Toyota. You could see the amount of passion that those guys had. Obviously, I know that you guys had a busy off season with starting the engine shop and stuff, but I guess those guys probably had a little bit more workload there to fully
Yeah.
design the new car, and yeah, it wasn't easy going, and yeah, they've had a busy time from Sydney even till now with the reliability issues. So I'm sure they were pretty happy to get that first podium, and it was cool that Woody could be the guy that that could do that for him too.
Yeah, agreed. I guess to give people an insight at home, like so you're second, Matt Payne's first, and this is trying to explain what I guess what we think about while we're out there, because people think we're just going flat out, but you're in a situation, you're second, and the way we think about it is, do you conserve and not push and use the tyre up, or do you push and use that tyre to get past Matt Payne, then conserve? So I guess for people at home, that's what's running through our mind, isn't it? And that's what would have been running through your mind as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you have probably like 5 or 6 laps there before the tires saturate. So what that means is before they get to their point of where the pressures stop climbing. So we have a minimum pressure of 16 pounds. So everyone starts the same. And, the tires eventually saturate and stop climbing. But when you're following another car, your tires will still keep climbing. So, and the tires are pretty good for those 4 to 5 lap window where the car feels pretty balanced. And then when they start to get hot, you start to get, your rears will start climbing and then this thing starts being real evil everywhere. So I knew that if I couldn't really if I didn't feel like I had the car for him, for 4 to 5 laps, I was probably gonna have to leave like a second and a half gap and keep clear air on my car and probably wait till the end of the race, which is pretty risky. But I just wanted to push and get close to him and see, what he'd do. And I thought maybe after the previous race that he thought he's maybe gonna come back at me, but we made pretty good changes to my car, so I hung on to his tires a lot better on the Friday race than it did on the Thursday race.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I just thought it was interesting because I'm always thinking about you're always thinking of the people around you and how you're going to manage it. Do you push now and conserve at the end, or do you conserve at the start and hope you come back? But I feel like Grand Prix is one of the hardest places to do that because most other places you just conserve early and come back at the end. But you can kind of play it a little bit of either way there, while trying to conserve, through the high speed because another thing is that the high speed is what does the most damage to our tires. It's the most load on it, and generally is how you get the dilemma. Why could I not say that?
Delamination, buddy.
Delamination.
Delamination. It seems like that's the place that you get it early in the race. So yeah, you're always trying to conserve, but if the guy behind you is not going to, you're going to get past. But yeah, I guess that leads us into sort of, I guess, the next part of the weekend, which was the 2 qualifyings and a race on Saturday. And this is where I bounced back. I was up and about this one. So
Hang on. Let's talk about the first one. But you still suck.
I was 6th. I was still up and about this, mate. That's good. 6th. I was actually, well, I don't know if I was up and about. I was actually a little bit disappointed with this one because I just felt like I didn't grip up 100%. And I was 6th and I thought we could be a fair bit better than that. So, we made some small changes between this one and the next one when we got pole. But yeah, P6. Like I say, I felt like it was the small wins. You got to take that. So yeah, 6 was all right in the first one. What did you end up there?
I believe I was 3rd that one. So yeah, my car wasn't really that good in quali. I mean, I obviously got the pole on the Thursday, but my car wasn't really that good in quali. It just felt like I had like no grip in general, but it was still obviously it was consistent, and I feel like a lot of teams, which we'll get to in a bit, were really up and down the order. Like if they could bring their the tire in or not. So maybe I just didn't do a good job of prepping the tire, but at least what I did was consistent between the runs. But yeah, I qualified 3rd for this one. Aaron Cameron again, P2, so stuck it on the front row, pretty cool. And obviously Brock had pole. Chaz again, 4th, and another BRT car 5th. So BRT on average, the top team for race 6 quali, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, they've definitely shown that they're not here to muck around, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is good how consistent they've been. That was a bit of an interesting one. But let's just skip to the next one now. Somebody give praise about this one, Ains. Can you?
I've never actually seen you that excited. I don't think you were even that excited when you won the championship.
No, I think
when you came back in the garage.
I think I was more pumped up about that than the championship for some reason.
100%. The smile on your face, you were like jumping around, wanting to see everyone.
Oh, I had a pep in my step after this one. But I said to Andrew, and it's risky. So we took risk to get this, I think. And I said to Andrew, they keep they kept moving the tyre bundles back in between the 2 qualifying runs. Did you notice that?
Yeah, we spoke about this.
And I was like to Andrew, I was like, we need a good quality. And I was like, if we run at the start, you lose 2/10 from having to miss the tyre bundles. By the end, all the cars have hit the tyre bundles and pushed them back 2-3 meters. So I was like, let's take the risk. And the risk is that if you run at the back, that if there's a yellow flag from somebody just running off or a red flag, you don't get a lap. So you start last. So we literally sat in the pits and let everyone else leave. And we thought that probably what that allows as well is that, it also allows a whole nother 23 cars to go around the track before you and put more rubber down as well. But also the tires should be moved back. So I was like, okay. And it's a bit nerve wracking because, you only do have 1 lap, but you're running late in the session. And I knew it was a tidy lap. Like, I thought everyone might have gone a fair bit faster, but I was like, I've done a tidy lap here. Like, this has to be all right. And I crossed the line and you know me, I'm always like, what am I, Andrew? What am I? And he's like, and the radios suck these days. The radios are so bad, but we'll get to that later. And I couldn't hear him. I'm like, what are we? He's like, yeah, you're P10, mate. And I just sat there in the car and I was like, you're kidding me. I was like, how good are all these guys in qualifying? I'm P10 and I just felt like I did the lap of gods. Like, got to be taking the piss out of me. And then he's like, you're second pole. And I'm like, is he talking American language now? Am I second? So it took me like a third of a lap for him to actually work out because my delta wasn't working to say I was pole. Took about a third of the lap until he's like, mate, we're pole position. And I just lost it. Hey, I didn't even accidentally think about the no swearing. So I had to beep out about 15 words because I was just that pumped up. And I just kept talking on the in lap. Andrew's like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, it's only and I'm like, mate, I'm getting ahead of myself. We just got a pole. Like, I'm not playing this thing down. We don't get them every day. So I was pumped up about it. If we could get the onboard, I think that exact moment is what motorsport is all about and why we do it. Because I feel like I put in so much effort to try and get to this stage to get a pole and to get one. It meant a lot to me, and I think it meant a lot to the team. And I think, I just was pumped up about it. So I'd like to get the onboard and even the whole radio clip it was awesome. But it was a good lap.
We have the radio clip, so I'll see if I can insert it. But people at home might not know about footage rights. So when you say you want to have onboard and like we'd like to show it and stuff like that, it's already hard enough to get rights from Fox to use it, and it has to be on a driver or a team channel. But at the F1, we actually, as a team or as a driver, there's no rights at all. So people might have noticed watching on the weekend, there was no footage on any team channels of what went on during the race, where normally some teams can clip it down and edit and post it. F1, because obviously they own it, we don't have anything to use anywhere on social. So it's actually a bit of a shame, but that's why we just don't have anything.
Yeah, let's just take the fine. We've got the footage. Let's put it up. But yeah, more the radio clip, because they did put the radio clip out, but it was only like 5 seconds of my radio clip, and we talked for a whole lap. So
and it was beep, beep, beep.
Literally, it was, and I didn't mean it, but I was up and about it, and I couldn't stop. But we'll try and find that, and there was some good stuff in it as well. But first poll, I was very happy about it. So hopefully we can get another one soon. Where were you?
Yeah, you guys, did you skip over the chaos with Woody's lap and the no penalties?
Yeah, actually, that was for the second quali, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah, the 8-minute quali. It was.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait.
No, it was for the first one.
Yes, that's it.
Brock
Yeah,
was on pole.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, it was for the first one. So it was for the 2-run quali, and everyone backed out into the lane and waited. And so it was all games, of course. So it eliminates half the cars from doing a lap and qualifying. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, right? You just gotta play chess or checkers or don't.
Yeah, I can understand their point of view, like disappointed not to get your lap, but it's also you can sort of choose when to push back, because if you push back, one of the last cars pushed back early, it gets the whole field going early. So they must have half waited, did they? Or
no, what happened was people pushed back and sat in the lane.
Oh, well, you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Well, people did it because all you have to do is push back or push back slowly and then wait like 10, 15 seconds, and it's pretty, it makes a big difference by the time 10 people do that down the lane, and by the time there's like a minute and a half gone.
Yeah, I think if you're going to take I think it's hard because the rules are so black and white, but I think if you're known to be taking the piss, there should be some sort of ramification or something like that. Because the day before, when we did the 12-minute qualifyings, everyone got their laps in easily. So I saw RD blowing up about it being wrong and all that, and everyone should lose their laps. But why did it work earlier in the weekend? So, it was interesting. But poor old Woody bloody got balked on his lap, which was I couldn't work out why they rolled out when they did. They
I
should have
was a
known.
bit I was a bit confused then as well. It really didn't make too much sense to me.
There's a reason, I guess, there's a reason we all roll out at the same time, and that's to make sure that you don't get held up by cars when they're warming up or that. Like, we're very procedural, I guess, the category on how and when. There's just waves of cars, so you don't have that happen. But when I saw him roll out that early, I was weirded out as to why they were doing that, and I actually thought that this might happen. But yeah, that was a lot of chaos. I was actually hoping you qualified worse, you and Matt Payne, because I was like, when I heard I was on pole, I was like, those are the two guys I've got to worry about in that race. Where are they? And I was like, shit, Brodie's fourth.
Yeah, to be honest, like I was obviously unhappy with fourth, but I said to George, I was like, if we can just qualify first or second row, it won't matter. Like it really just won't matter. Like the car is that good in the race. And but we'll get stuck into the races now. So race 6 was a bit chaotic. It became time certain. So the first thing that happened off the start was the Payne and Golding incident out of turn 2, where I'm not sure if Golding knew he was there, but Golding pretty much just stuffed him straight in the fence and gave Matt a bunch of punctures. That was the first safety car, I believe.
Did he get a penalty for that, Golding?
I believe he did, yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this the day before because I nearly tried going around the outside of someone there and I actually pulled back into line because I thought they're going to put me in the fence. And I think Payne was far enough along that Golding really had to allow him to have it. But I looked in my rear view mirror and saw that happen. I was like, far out. Like, it's a hard one, but at least I think he got a decent penalty for it, which I think he deserved in that scenario.
But Payne's front wheels were just in front of James's rear wheels.
Yeah, but that's a long way along.
Yeah, I know, but if there's no wall there, that's no penalty.
Well, if there's no wall there, that was just good hard racing these days.
Yeah, but that's the part I don't know. I don't really agree with that. I'd rather have bump and runs and have people just getting ran off the road because that doesn't promote good racing, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you run someone off the road, they lose a lot of you can sort of run them off far enough that they can't get back to you. You know what I mean?
Well, they get sand on their tires, dirt on their tires, and like you've already said, that affects you for like 5 corners. It's pretty much like you basically just sort of ruin your race a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It was 30 seconds for him too.
Yeah, it was I remember it being big.
Yeah. There was 2 30-second penalties handed out in this, which apparently like our team were amazed because 30-second penalties don't happen very often. Like this is like a big thing. But Woody Woody got another one for the Randall incident, which I don't actually think Woody did mean it. I think if you have a look, he went so far off track. I reckon he got sand on his tire as well, and he reckons he broke and just locked up and hit him. And it tipped Randall in hard though. Like I can see why he got 30 seconds. It just looked like he deliberately did it. I don't think he did in any way, but Randall was actually pretty smart in gassing it up. Did you see him just gas it to try and propel it away from the fence?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he actually did a great job, I thought. So, but Woody definitely didn't do that on purpose because that doesn't benefit his race whatsoever.
No, that's
And
right.
Randall didn't do anything, so there was no retaliation or anything. It was just, I think, just a misjudgment, which happens.
Yeah. It's
a weird track too, right? Because like that corner, like Woody was racing the guy next to him, so he's probably more focused on the guy next to him to get a nose ahead than what he was on Randall, maybe a little bit as well. So, but
Yeah,
who
it was
knows?
fun because Randall gassed up and kind of got himself out of it, but then Woody was going back through and hit him again, and then it deflected him into the fence. So he kind of like double got him accidentally. But poor bugger. But yeah, I wasn't saying it was deliberate. I just more mean it was interesting, the 30-second penalty, because you know what I mean? Like a lot of the time, I guess he did go in the fence because it's kind of like a bump and run's usually 5 seconds. 15 seconds is like running them off the road and they lose 2 or 3 spots, and then maybe 30 is putting them in the fence. And this is where I'm leading to with Chaz, because he punted me off at turn 9, which was not very nice, to be honest. I thought it was very rude. But I was so off it during the race. Hey, I was like,
How did he get you side to side, or was it rear bar?
No, you've got to watch the footage. It was like it wasn't even front wheel to rear wheel. It was just inside a rear bar. Like it was just a bit of overlap, maybe a foot of overlap. And then like we know there, like I understood the pass he was trying to make, but if he was up alongside me, you can bump the car without tipping him off because you both have enough, like it just doesn't turn the car around. But when you hit him that far back, it just sort of like I lost the rear massively. I thought, well, I just need to straighten it up and go through the grass, and then shot through the grass. But yeah, I think we can probably talk about that a little bit more with the stewards hearing, because I had a few stewards hearings to do after this. But because Chaz took me out, I shot through the grass, got back on, and then lost 4 spots. But down at the next corner, it was another kerfuffle because it was sort of like all 3 wide, and I was on the inside of LeBrock. And I personally don't think this incident was at all my fault. I just sort of faked LeBrock into going in too deep, and Cooper was out wide, and Jack hit Jack hit Cooper, and Cooper got turned around, unfortunately. And this is how race control saw it, and the stewards as well, is that it was a racing incident because 3 just doesn't go into 1. But yeah, I didn't get a penalty for that. But then, yeah, Chaz hit me. I went off, then went down there. Cooper ended up back in the gravel, which looked a little bit like it was my fault. And I'd already done that as well the day before. So I thought he's going to want to come in and fight me after this one. Yeah, it was just like, it was crazy race. Like within the matter of 2 corners, I've gone from thinking, yeah, I'm going to be third to, okay, well, now I'm bloody had 2 crashes and out. And I didn't think any of them were my fault, but it was actually quite funny on the radio after this. This was so embarrassing because I was like to Andrew, I was like stand by and Chaz, and I was like, righto, I'm going to make him know I'm here. And I was like angry about it, like saying stuff on the radio. And Andrew's joking. We keep talking about, he's like, you need to calm down. So he's like talking about Zen. He's like, then he's like, think about rolling ocean waves and all this, like just joking with me. But
Was
on
it
the radio,
was that
they
during the safety
played-
car?
yeah, and they played it on KO, and it didn't sound like a joke at all because they cut out my part where I'm saying stuff back to him joking. So it just sounded like me and Andrew are just like full on going to bloody, I don't know, yoga sessions, just zenning out and that sort of stuff and practicing it. But it was pretty funny on the radio. We listened to it the next day, but then I was like, oh, I got to get Chaz. So I actually lunged him into 1, and I was like, please move under brakes. Please give me a reason. But I got him down there, and I think he knew it was coming back. But yeah, that was that was 2 incidents. So Chaz, then the next corner, which was a lead on effect. And then I got back up there into 5th, passing for 4th. I thought I was probably going to get a podium this race. I didn't want to do anything silly because I thought I need to get some results. I need to bank some points. And unfortunately, coming out of Aaron locked up a little bit coming into 3, and he was like us, super edgy. And I got a really good run out of there, and I darted to the inside, which has happened a fair bit throughout the weekend. And I personally, he said he saw me move left in his rear view mirror in the steward's hearing, and then he pretty much said he didn't check his left mirror and thought he'd left enough room, but he just turned down. And I tried backing out, but I was far enough along that I couldn't. I hit the brake so hard, which you don't brake hard for that corner, and I just ended up into the side of him, and we both spun. But I didn't think it was a silly move or anything like that, or I was trying anything silly, majorly ambitious. I just thought that we'd run 2 wide through there, and I'd switch him back for turn 5, which absolutely screwed my race, to be honest. Like I've gone from 4th back to 23rd again, got damage to the car. Like it was bloody annoying. I was so down. I was like just annoyed about this race because so much happened. And then, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that one. I can see how on footage it looks a little bit more like my fault, but or like I contributed a lot to it, but I thought it was a fair try to move.
So far this podcast, you've literally done a lot of talking about your antics in the races. Mine were really straightforward. Just get to the front and just win. Yours, I don't think my move on this guy was that bad, or this guy ran into me, or I was trying to zen. Andrew's trying to tell me to zen.
I'm not silly. Like, I'm sounding like I'm the common denominator here. Maybe I've got to point the finger back at myself and have a look at myself here. But yeah, it was interesting. There was so many incidents, and then I did have a chat with. I had a chat
You had a
with
few
Cooper.
chats.
I had a few chats over the weekend. Cooper walked up to me, and I actually really like Cooper. He's a pretty fiery sort of guy, and he was walking up pit lane, and I was like, oh, well, here we go. So he's walking up, and he's like, what was that? And I was like, I don't know. This is the day before, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I didn't mean to do it. I stuffed my race. I stuffed your race. I'm really sorry. I'll apologize to your team. Like, I really did not mean to do it. And he's like, and he said something else, and I was like, well, we can go out the back and you can punch me if it's going to make you feel better. But I was like, I can't really say anymore. Like, I'm sorry. And he sort of looked at me and he's like, he didn't know what to say then. He's like, oh, fair enough then. It was like, there's not really a lot more we're going to get out of this combo. But yeah, I was apologetic to him because I don't like ruining anyone's races. I race as hard as I can, but I definitely didn't want to ruin his race. So that was one chat with him. Then the next day I got to see him again because of the turn 3 wide accident. I'm like, this one wasn't my fault. And people were telling him it was. So I left my helmet on for this chat. No, I didn't. I'm joking. I didn't leave my helmet on. But yeah, I just was like, I'll go back and review the footage and come back and chat here. And then I was talking to Tim Blanchard because he was like, oh, what happened? And my understanding then, and still my understanding, is that we could have gone too wide with Mano and Cameron, but I don't think he checked his mirror to see that I was there. So yeah, I just talked with Tim, but Tim's a good fella. So yeah, I was having plenty of chats. So it was a crazy race. I was literally involved in everything. It looked like someone made a TikTok reel about it, and Brock was showing me today, but
Yeah, I liked it.
yeah, you like it. But yes, crazy race for me, but it looked like for yourself, it was just another cruisy race.
Yes, it was there, Sir William. It was another cruisy race. I just followed around the back of the 88, and Brock drove a really good race, to be honest, because his thing was a bucket of bolts, really, compared to my car. But he just put the car in all the right spots, and I was pretty wary because I knew what position I was in when Matt was out of the LP trophy and trying to get some points after a bit of a up and down Sydney. And getting a penalty around that place with the risk of the safety cars and not being able to serve it in the pit lane is pretty much, it's like you basically put yourself in the ground if you get a penalty. Like, you just can't, you get a 5-second penalty there as a safety car, it ends on a safety car, you're finishing last. So I didn't want to do anything that was going to be pretty risky, and Brock was being probably a little bit more desperate than what he normally is. I think he really wanted that win after the first 2 races where you guys really struggled. So yeah, probably I look back and I probably could have done a few things a little bit differently as well, but you sort of don't know. You don't really know till you try it, right? So yeah, it was obviously happy to get another podium. A little bit disappointed couldn't get the win there to do the clean sweep for the weekend, but all in all, still good. George did a good job. He kept tuning the car up and got it better every race. So yeah, I was still happy with how everything sort of played out, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
So do you think if you'd have like an eighth, and then you're battling for the lead in that one, not for Larry Perkins, would have you had is there some way you would have had more of a crack? Or
I don't think so, to be honest, because yeah, Brock really positioned his car pretty well, so I had to take the majority of the risk. And if there was going to be contact, it was going to be my fault. So I was deemed my fault, and that's how everything's gone this year, to be honest. That's why I was asking you about the overlap on you and Chaz, because I had more overlap on my last incident and got a penalty for it. So yeah, maybe you just have to spin out on purpose and you can give someone a penalty these days, since it's outcome based. I don't really know.
fair enough. I reckon you've probably just done all the things that you've been penalised for, but that's all right.
You
This
can't
is-
talk anymore. Mate, your car, you may as well, you're lucky you have a trucking business and you own tilt trays, because your thing's been on the tilt tray more times than I can probably count.
Hey, I've finished all the races, just not in good results.
Yeah, you may as well be on the tilt tray.
Oh, this is like talking about the penalties and that. I thought it'd be cool to run through for everyone listening the how a steward's hearing works and all of that sort of stuff, because I had about 3 of them after this race that I had to attend, which is a record. I've never ever seen that happen before. But so we got the message, and because they had so much stuff went on in this race, they had like 8 hearings that we finished at what time? 6:30. And then it was about, I reckon about 7:45, and we got an email saying, yeah, you've got to stick around. You've got a hearing at 9:10, one at 9:30, and one at like 9:45. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I wanted to go out for dinner or get something to eat. So that was a pretty late night for me. But I guess how the hearing works is you've got the stewards in there that you sort of put your case forward, and then you've got Berto as the driver's standards that sort of gives them advice. You know, he's obviously been there and done it all. So he says to them that he thinks this was the cause to the incident, or this person did this. And then the stewards make their decision off, you know, Berto, our argument. So it's like court, you sort of give your leading argument. And before we went in, it was actually really funny because Bruce and Chaz was texting me. I should bring them up, but Chaz texted me after the race, and he's like, because he wants me to sell his Audi Q5 for him. And he's like, will you still sell my Audi for me? I'm like, no chance. And he's like, oh, really? And I was like, actually, yeah, drop it up because I'm going to torch the thing. And I'm texting him forward and back. It was funny. And then we get there and you have to stand outside with them. So we're talking. And then we walk in and all the stewards are there. And I love having a joke. So I like look at Dado and I'm like, righto, if we have to scrap him, I'm taking Bruce. Because I was like, I think Chaz will have me. And Bruce was just laughing and thought it was funny. And we go in, and Chaz led hard with the leading case. He went hard and was like, no, I backed out of it. Will turned in on me, all this sort of stuff. I'm like, right, it's going to be on our hand. Like, we've got to put a bit of a case forward here. But Berto was like, no, it's a ambitious move. It wasn't going to get done. And that, like, Dutto actually said, oh, he's not limit braking because he was getting out of the brake. And Chaz actually fired up. He was like, oh, you driven the car at that corner, have you? Didn't realize you've driven the car there. And Dutto was like, oh, righto then. So it got a bit heated in the room. Then we walked back out and everyone was mates again. You leave it in the steward's room and they say, righto, we've heard what you guys have to say. Head outside. We'll have a talk about it. And when we'll get you back in to give you the verdict. So we're all outside talking again. And we go back in and they're like, okay, well, we've come up with our decision and what we're thinking. And we suggest it's a 5-second penalty. And I thought that wasn't enough because I lost 4 or 5 spots. Like, you know, you got 5 seconds for just bumping and running someone lightly at Sydney. So I didn't think that was enough, but I knew they weren't going to give more. You know how it's going to go down in those scenarios and you sort of save your bickies for another day. But me being the car salesman I am, they were like, so we can't give him 15, so we're going to give him 5. And I was like, well, can we meet halfway and do 10? And they're just like, what are you talking about? There's not even the option there. So we all had a laugh about that with Bruce and everyone and got on our way. So that was my first one. And then the second one was with Aaron Cameron. And they thought that was actually a bit more my fault. And we showed them that I broke in there a lot harder than I would usually brake as I thought he was turning down and crowding me. So they just deemed that a racing incident. And that one was quite basic. And then they threw the last one out, which was the 3 wide one, because they thought it was just a racing incident as well. So it was a bit weird because Supercars came out and straight away after the race and said I got a 30-second penalty and I ran into all these people and I never even got a penalty. So everyone was bagging me online that I got all these penalties and it actually never happened. So I don't know who at Supercars got their information or where they got it from.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, the crowding one, because that's the same one at Sydney once again with the same guy.
Yeah, it's so hard to. Well, I think Aaron, like you said before, like I don't want to bag the guy. He is doing a fantastic job, but I think he just needs to just get that awareness around him in the racing, because, you know, it's hard to back out once you got to commit to a pass. So you actually have to go, I'm committing to this. And if the car doesn't know you're there or turns in, it's very hard to back out of that and actually remove yourself from where you've positioned the car. So I actually tried to do that because I didn't want to ruin my race or his, but it ended up in damage. So, you know, you could say I shouldn't have put my car there, and looking back, maybe I should have waited longer. So I think there's some onus on me as well that I could have done a better job and waited. But, you know, it was one of those things. I'm happy to call it a racing incident. But yeah, I saw that and I was half annoyed. I didn't want to get a penalty for it because I was like, Supercars and these guys have been writing penalties about me hitting this, that, and everything and getting penalties. I was like, I don't need another one on my rap sheet.
Yeah, we'll get stuck into some articles later, but before we do that, race 7, just another absolute dominating win by the fastest lucky dog on the Lucky Dogs podcast. Literally just cruised around the whole race behind him and let him think he was going to have it and pounced with 2 laps to go. Easily.
I was like a little deer getting hunted by a lion out there. And I was like, please don't do it to me, Brodie. I was like, I need this. I need this in my life. Don't do it to me. And I just saw, so coming into this race, I've looked at the starting grid and I went, Randall, I reckon I can beat him. And then I was like, Brodie and Matt Payne sounding tougher this weekend. So I was like, I need to get the start, put me and Randall between those guys, and then I need to have enough tyres. And actually, Aaron Cameron was there as well. And I was like, here we go. I'll be able to get a big enough gap. And then I look and I see you behind Randall. And then we do the safety car restart. I'm like, come on, Thomas, hold him up, hold him up. And then I saw you get him and I'm like, oh, this isn't good for me. I'm going to have to really try and save. And I remember just thinking, please let me have it. And to be honest, you're so fast. Like through the back section, I was actually pretty good through a fair bit of the track, hey? Like I was pretty good through sector 1.
You're okay. Yeah, I think you got out to like 1.8 seconds and I literally shaved a second off in half a lap. And then I got to like 0.8 or 0.7 behind you and I didn't want to go any further because I saw you were losing the rear everywhere and I saw the gap behind and I was like, I don't want to start having a Lucky Dogs full, middle between our legs measuring contest because I just want to end the weekend on a high, like not end up with, the car with wheels hanging off it and shit. So, I was like, I'll just want to wait a bit and maybe wait till a couple laps to go. And I saw the field had a bit of spread as well. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just let you get on with it. And you're actually going okay compared to Thomas. Like, I think you're a little bit quicker than Thomas. And then I knew I had like pace to burn when I wanted it. So, but God, that start was chaotic. Like, everyone, obviously, with being 14 laps, everyone just goes, they need to be leading by the first corner. And obviously the Kai moved a little bit across into Woody and those guys jumped. And once again, another wheel-to-wheel contact. And we still have these shitty wheels causing big crashes. I'm just getting tired of talking about it. Like, we are better than this. We need to have a better wheel. It's just rubbish. Like half of these crashes, literally when we're racing side by side, wouldn't even be crashes. Like the racing would be so much better if we had wheels that didn't have spokes that stick out. It is literally like watching Death Racer or Death Race. It's bloody ridiculous.
It was obviously that's not ideal, but it was a huge crash. Like when I didn't know until we came back around under safety car, they said there'd been a crash and I looked at Brock's car and I didn't even know Brock was out because the radios had been so bad. And I was like, holy far out. Like, I hope he's all good because that was huge. And watching the replay, didn't really look like obviously it just looked like everyone was a little bit to blame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was just so many just small things that happened for that big shunt to end up being what it was. But yeah, a lot of people feel like we have to back Brock up here because a lot of people are bagging him online about him keeping it spinning, but a lot of the time that can help and sometimes it can hurt. There's no right way to do it. There's like, if you clamp it down, great. Someone will run into you. One day you don't clamp it down. And like me at Ipswich, you sort of get out of the road of other cars. So I don't think he did anything wrong there. Like, yeah, you can look back and go, hindsight, oh, maybe it might have been better if he did, but maybe he spins around and doesn't get hit. So I think that was just is what it is.
Yeah, I to be honest, like I kind of agree that to be honest, it's really easy in hindsight with these things to say, yeah, like what he did was wrong. But to be honest, he actually got off the track. So he got hit off the circuit.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's right.
So where he got hit, so he got where he wanted to go off the circuit, but there was 2 other cars off the circuit, and then he got hit back onto the circuit and then got hit again. So yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But yeah, once again, Zach and Cooper are involved in that. Again, just being a little bit unlucky, I guess. But Rylan somehow made it through that. His onboard's pretty incredible, to be honest. Yeah, so, but I think it's just, yeah, people being a little bit too eager and just the wheels being not good enough. We need to do better than that. So, and yeah, with the argument is to change the wheels will cost like 50 or 60 grand to each car or each team. But like, look at Brock's car. There's like 50 grand's worth of damage to it. There's like half the cars are all like, that's all because of a slight like door bang down the front straight that's turned into wheel to wheel contact and cars flying through the air and bloody stuff all over the road. And that was another thing too, was after that crash, did you, well, actually you didn't see this because we spoke about this, but there was so much debris on the track after the crash still. Like there was metal, carbon and stuff. Like I didn't see a leaf blower out blowing stuff off the track, which I found pretty crazy.
I liked one thing that I think they were trying to get the race started quickly so we didn't lose many laps. I liked that. But yeah, when I came through, I was like, far out. It was just grass everywhere over the track when we came through and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I did feel sorry for Cooper and that, because I don't think they were anywhere, like, poor buggers and Zach both drove into a shunt. But it was interesting. I want to go back because you said about us having a measure off, and I was ready for a measure off. So you're probably glad that I just locked up and ran past, because I was like, I need this. I need the win. Let's go for it. I thought, lucky dogs are going to get into it. Well, this podcast might be over next week.
I knew that you were going to make a mistake because you're so desperate.
Here we go. Oh, fuck, man. I was so off myself when I made the mistake. Like, I knew, well, I guess you know who you're racing. And I was like, I knew you wanted to win the Larry Perkins Trophy, but I also knew if the opportunity was there, you were going to have a crack. And I felt like you were close. I don't know if these mirrors were closer, but you were close. And so I moved quickly, and I was locking rears. You could see I was a shopping trolley, like, not a shopping trolley, but I had edginess in that run anyway, in that corner. And that's so straight when I tried braking deeper and a little bit offline, I just locked the rears. So I should have known, but just locked the rears. And it actually nearly did like NASCAR style. Did you hear the onboard? It was like full hopping. And I thought I was like, I might end up in the gravel here nearly. And then, yeah, I stopped it and just saw you go past. And I was like, far out. I actually felt bad for the crew because we'd had such a tough weekend. I thought I might actually get a win here. But you just had to do it to me, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the snowball effect of catching you a second in one lap because your car's not good enough. So
maybe next time we've got to do like a specialized hat for a 1-2 for the lucky dogs.
yeah, maybe comment if you think we should do, if we get a 1-2, we'll do a limited edition run of hats.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
who won on the side and who came second? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So we can probably pre-order about 1,000 of me being 1 and you being 2.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do it for this one. Let's do it for the next one. Hopefully I come out on top of that one. But yeah, it was interesting. Great rate. Like, it was cool for me. It's so crazy. Like, you start at the front and it's just all different. Like, you're not involved in crashes. Nothing silly's happening. Like, yeah, I made a small mistake, but it came out of that with my car being fine. Obviously, Brock's wasn't. This was another thing that I thought was good for people to hear. But, for us, we're pretty limited on spares. Like, over the weekend, with building 3 cars and having to wait for, front splitters and all the stuff, like, we actually ran out of front splitters on the weekend because of hitting tire bundles. So had to actually repair ones. So Brock's car, our supply of parts, I think, is going to get a lot better between, New Zealand, between now and New Zealand, because we've got time. But, Brock's car being damaged, it seems like such a long turnaround for all the fans from now until New Zealand. But the cars, they've only got 5 days to fully prep the cars to get them in the containers. That's pack the containers and everything to head off on the boat. And Brock's car's got to be fully fixed. So you didn't want a lot of damage out of the weekend because it's actually a very quick turnaround. It's as fast a turnaround or faster than Sydney to Grand Prix for the teams. So pretty hectic, actually. So Brock's dad actually left with Brock's car in the truck that afternoon, and then they flew a team member to Sydney to meet him there because he could get that far on his logbook, because I know trucking. So just letting you know. No, and then they packed another person in, and he's driven it up. So it arrived back today, I guess, filming this Monday at 1:00, and they'll start rebuilding that thing because they needed to get it back as quick as possible. But yeah, got a big couple of, the team's been working so hard, and now got a big another couple of days or week to get that one ready and sorted for New Zealand.
Yeah, I think we've just got to wipe a bit of confetti off mine and stitch up Rollins a bit, and we'll be right to go.
I'm sure that's right. Far out.
But
No.
supercar headlines. So we've got a couple of screenshots in here of some of the supercar articles that were put on their socials. Now, I'm not sure if I'm not sure who writes the captions for the articles, because the articles are obviously written by their like motorsport journos, which is James like Pavey or whatever else, whoever else writes them. I currently recall, but do you want to read out your one that you got given?
But
This is
yeah,
your caption.
well, this is probably half right, but it was mean. After more hits than Elvis, Brown prepares for last laugh, but at the start it says, lost his mojo, stick to selling cars, a walking penalty, which bit harsh. Some of them are true, but yeah, it was interesting. There was a couple over the weekend actually I think Supercars have taken the. Let's read yours out, but I think they've taken this approach because it's so many clicks and all that and comments. Like people are loving it when I get a penalty.
Well, mine was post the last race. It says Brodie Kostecki has benefited from a Brock Vinny crash to win a second Perkins Trophy. Now, let me put this into two perspectives. So Brock was starting 11th for that race, and I was starting 4th. If Brock won that race from 11th, which has happened before, just not in a 14-lap race without pit stops, I had to finish 10th. So I don't know who wrote this, but obviously you don't have a brain, to be completely honest.
No,
And
no.
it's actually quite disrespectful, to be honest.
I actually think you only probably got that because Brock did have the crash, to be honest. You probably didn't deserve it on the weekend.
Yeah, that's a bit like your 2024 championship. He had one bad DNF and you won that because of that.
Did he ever did it?
I don't know, I just made that up.
No, there was a few. It's definitely, but I think this is trying to build the hype around the sport as well. Like there's more rivalries, there's more of these sort of articles going up.
Yeah, but do they
it's
think the fans are stupid?
Well, they get clicks and they get comments out of it, don't they? So I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a way to get clicks and comments and engagement, but it's not being completely wrong.
No, I agree. Because they wrote Brown and then someone else gets massive 30-second penalty the day before. And everyone's commenting on it saying, oh, yeah, typical Will Brown gets another penalty. And I actually never got a penalty. So I don't know. And then they took it down later, but there was no writing, no one had said I got a penalty. They just wrote it. So it was interesting on the weekend. There's always going to be articles going up, but it was a bit frustrating. But overall, a pretty crazy weekend.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend. We'll go through the round points because I feel like this is a good way to show like just finishing the races in a way. So obviously I won the round on 299 points, but in second was Cam Waters, who had a very quiet, Tickford had a pretty quiet weekend as far as for pace. They weren't that pacey. And then Kai got third for the round, which he spent most of the time in the highlight reels getting spun around. Brock got fourth after his DNF, and Jack LeBrock stuck in there fifth.
Yeah, but it is crazy because you just stay out of trouble because everyone had so much trouble. But I finished 11th and I thought I had the worst weekend of my career.
It was pretty bad, but yeah, obviously there was a lot of other people that had shockers as well. But just one of those crazy weekends, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is. I think it's a little bit more of this final system still. Like, I don't think people are thinking about the long game. Like, I probably have taken a different approach this year, trying to win races, and that hasn't worked out. But you know what I mean. Like, you want to try and be a bit aggressive, and I think that a lot of people are taking that attitude because you don't have to be leading the championship now to win the championship at the end of the year with what happened with Chaz. So it's interesting, but I'll definitely take a different approach at the next round.
Yeah, and then speaking of championship now, if you would have told me I was leaving with the lead, I would have laughed because I was fifth, but I was a fair way off. But yeah, pretty cool to have the orange numbers going to the doubleheader at New Zealand. It's the first time that everyone at DJR and Shelby Power Racing has had the orange numbers since 2020, since Scotty was there. So that's pretty cool. Everyone's pretty pumped up about that. But yeah, I think interesting. Like you said, I think everyone's got a bit of a different approach. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to episode 22, Will, not 2022, like how you fumbled 4,000 times at the start. I hope Ains actually clips that in. We really appreciate everyone coming up to us throughout the weekend. It was actually really cool to see, because we're obviously there from the Wednesday till the Sunday. But yeah, so many guys and girls coming up, kids saying they like the podcast, and saw a lot of Lucky Dogs hats too, which is really cool. And yeah, just want to say thank you for tuning in. It's always good, and we really appreciate it.